Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is Mohammad Waid Khan, and in this video I will show you how to create sign up and sign in functionality in Android application using Firebase. So let's go to the Android Studio. The app that I will show you, or the user interface that I will be creating, is very simple. As you can see on the screen, there will be only two fields, one for entering the email and second for entering the password, and one button for creating the account. You can also go to the sign in screen. When you click on this sign in, you can go to the sign in screen, and sign in is identical to the sign up screen, except the difference in these different words that shows that this screen or this UI is used to sign in. And here you can go back to the sign up screen. So first of all, I will show you how to create this user interface. So first of all, create a new project in the Android Studio. Give it a name, test Firebase, and leave the rest of the fields as it is, and just click finish. So here our new project is being created. So first of all, the first user interface that we have to create is sign in screen. So how to create a sign in screen? Let this Gradle finish its task. The Gradle has finished its task, and just switch this view to the code, XML code that we will use to create the UI. So first of all, you can see that we have only one text view in this screen, and the layout manager is constraint layout. Constraint layout is a bit difficult to work with, so I will convert this constraint layout to linear layout. Once I convert this linear layout manager to the linear layout, now this time I will input all the required text views and edit text controls. So first of all, change this to, let's say, sign in, and remove these properties, as these properties has a concern with constraint layout. So first of all, make this text a little bit bigger by setting the text size property. Make it 50 sp. Change its color to black, and change its width property to match parent, so we can center align the text. Now we need to center align the text by applying this property gravity. I would like to apply the text style to bold. So this is the text. This will show us that we are in the sign in screen. Next we need to place two edit texts. So let's place edit text, give it the width match parent and height wrap content, give it a hint property enter email. As you can see that you cannot see the edit text. The reason is linear layout has two important properties that need to be set first. The important property is orientation property, and it has two possible values, vertical or horizontal. So in this case we will set the vertical, so the controls are placed in the form of a column. Now again go to the edit text and change the other properties, like we have set the hint, and let's close this. Copy this edit text and paste it. This time change this enter email to enter password. As you know, we will be using this edit text in the code, so that's why we need to give it an ID. We will use that ID to reference this control or this view from the Java code. So let's set the ID, and give it the ID edt sign in password, and in this set it to edt sign in email. And now next, place the button, and its dimension should be wrap content, and its text should be sign in the same way give it the ID so we can use this button in the code, and its ID should be btn sign in, and close this button tag. Now by pressing the Ctrl Alt L you can format the code at once. So as you can see, after pressing the Ctrl Alt and L, the Android Studio has automatically formatted all the lines. So for now we are set, but one thing I would like to do in the user interface, the edit views and buttons they are stick to the borders, they are stick to the edges of the screen. So let's apply some padding to the linear layout. So now this looks good, and let's give it this enter email edit text a margin top of at least 40 dp. Right, now press Ctrl Alt L again. Okay, so this is the simple user interface. Now we need to create the second screen, and that second screen will be used for the sign up process. Okay, this main activity will be used as a sign in activity. So now we create another activity, and how do we do this? Just click on that app, new, and under the activity click on empty views activity, give it a name like sign up. We have to generate the layout file as well, and we are not going to make this a launcher activity, that's why we keep this checkbox unchecked. Click on that finish. Our new sign up activity is ready. Just go to the XML code, because we have to design the UI of the screen. We can simply copy this code from text view till the button, and we can paste this code under the sign up activity. But first of all, you need to make few changes, and the first change is remove this constraint layout and convert this into the linear layout, and then apply the orientation property, and the possible properties are vertical and horizontal. Select the vertical and apply the padding of 20 dp. Now we can simply paste the code, and you can see the code is here, and the screen 100% looks like the sign in screen, but we have to change the text. This sign in is now sign up, and we can make it all uppercase by text all caps property, and this time the ID should be, rather than sign in email, it should be sign up emails. Then we can easily identify in the code. This should also be sign up password, and this sign in button should be given the name create account. Okay, so our sign in activity and sign up activity looks 100% same. So this was the first step, that we had to create the UIs. Next step is to go to the Firebase and create the project. And how do we do this? Let's come to the Firebase console. Okay, and click on that Firebase link. So when you open the Firebase website, if you have already signed in using the Gmail account in your browser or in your Google Chrome, you will see your account picture on the top right corner. But if you are not seeing your picture or your account is not signed in, then you need to sign in. As you know, my account is already signed in here, so I am seeing the option go to console. So when you click on this go to console, the Firebase dashboard will come up. Right at the moment I have no project over here. Before creating the project in the Firebase, you have to sign in using your Gmail account in this Android Studio as well. And how to sign in? Just go to top right and click on this picture. Right at the moment you can see my account is already signed in, that's why I am seeing my picture. But in your case you might not be signed into this Android Studio and you might see the sign in button instead. So if you are seeing the sign in button, just click on that sign in button and follow the instructions to sign in into this Android Studio. Once you are signed in, then the next thing that you have to do, go to the tools, and under the tools you have to click on that Firebase, and this will bring up the Firebase assistant. Okay, so far now I hope we are good to go and you are following the instruction along. Now go back to the Firebase web console. In this, first of all, you have to create a project. Once you create the project, give it any simple name like test FB or Firebase and continue. Keep all the settings and all the options as it is. Click continue. Select any account. I mean, you will have an account already signed in. So mine account is already signed in. And I'm going to click on this create project button. In couple of seconds, depending on the internet speeds, the project will be created. So it is near to the creation of project. Now the project has been created. Click continue. Once the project has been created, I will see a different user interface. Now I'm going to implement the sign in and sign up functionality. So that's why I'll go to the build, and under the build I will click on this authentication. Once I click on that authentication page, if this page is clicked for the first time, I will see the page like this, and click on get started. Now these are the different sign-in providers that I can use in my app. Right at the moment we are not using any of these sign-in providers, but we will be using the simple email and password sign-in provider. So click on it and turn on this option only, email password. You don't need to turn on this option. Now click on that save. Once I click on this save, my native email and password authentication or sign-in method will be activated. I can add another sign-in methods as well, but for this project we'll be using only this email and password sign-in method. Next thing, we have to go back to our project, and now we have to click on that authentication as well. Once we have clicked on that authentication, click on this authenticate using Google. There are two steps that you can use to connect your Firebase app to your Firebase project, or you can connect your Firebase app or Firebase project with this Android Studio. So the first thing is you have to connect to the Firebase. When we click on this button, this will take us to the Firebase console or the Firebase dashboard. So here it is asking me to choose a project to whom or to which I want to connect my Android app. So this is a project that we want to connect with. So click on that project. Now after a couple of seconds, our Android app and this Firebase project will be connected. Click on this button, and now our Android app is connected with Firebase project. We can close this window and just go back to the Android Studio, and you can see the tick mark. I mean this check mark, it means our app has been connected. And the next thing that we have to do, we have to add some dependencies of Firebase authentication, or you can say Firebase authentication APIs to our app. Unless we do this, we won't see any Firebase authentication class. You see, if I type Fire or Firebase, I'm not seeing any related class. But let's say click on this button now. This is the second important step that will add the important dependencies and accept changes. After some time, the Gradle will add the Firebase authentication APIs or Firebase authentication SDK to this project. So you can see that our dependencies have been added successfully. Now let's try to type the Firebase again. This time you will see a different set of classes like Firebase Auth and Firebase App and rest of the other classes related to the Firebase authentication. This shows that our dependencies or our Firebase authentication APIs have been added successfully in this project. Now the next important thing before writing the sign in and sign up code for the authentication, we have to bind these controls with the code, or in the backend we have to bind these three controls like this email edit text view, password edit text view, and a sign in. So first of all, let's program the backend of sign in. Okay, so first of all, how we bind the controls, we have to create the two instances of edit text, one for holding the reference of sign in email, and second for holding the reference of sign in password, and one instance of button to hold the btn sign in reference. We can use these controls to refer to the UI controls that we have placed in these XML activities. Okay, so now we have to, after creating the instances, we have to bind these controls with the actual controls that are placed in the UI. And how we do this? edt sign in email is equal to find view by id r.id.edt sign in email, and by pressing the control D we can directly paste this code or paste this line and just change the email to password, and here also change the email to password, and again control D for btn sign in, btn sign in. Now press Control Alt L. So this way Android Studio will format the code. Once we have bind the control, we have to do the same thing in the sign up activity as well. Let's maximize the code text size, and we have to bind these three controls: this email text view, password text view, and create account. Again create the two text views or two instances of edit text views for holding the sign up email, and second for holding the reference for password field, and one for button btn. You can name it sign up or create account. I think create account is easy to remember, so let's bind this control in the onCreate method. onCreate is the first method that is called when we launch our app, or you can say it's activity lifecycle, or this is the first state of activity lifecycle. So we need to bind the controls edt sign up email, find view by id r.id edt sign up email. Just copy this code 3 times and now change this for password, and this for holding the btn create account. Actually I guess we are not seeing the ID of btn or button in the sign up activity. Let's check it. Why? Oh, actually the ID is btn sign in. It should be btn create account. create account. So let's go back, btn create account. Okay, now we have easily, actually this is btn. Now we have created the control bindings, and after the control bindings, now we have to perform the code, or we have to write the code in listeners. What I mean when I click on that sign in button, it should sign in with provided username and passwords if that username and password exists, and after checking its existence, it must check whether email and password is correct. And in the sign up activity, we have to create the new user with provided email and password. But one more thing that we have to do, that I showed you in the start of this video, that we have to place some text. I mean if we are on sign up activity, then there should be a text that should take us to the sign in activity, and if we are on the sign in activity, then there should be a button that should take us to the sign up activity. So let's do it. First of all, sorry, for creating a text and a button, I will take the linear layout, and this will become match parent wrap content. Okay, so first I will place a text, simple text view, a wrap content, and the text should be on the sign up activity. It must show already have an account, and question mark, and apart from that, it must show the second text view, and this time this text will be sign in. Text size should be 20 sp, and text style should be bold, and we have to apply these two properties on this text view as well. And for the sign in, we have to change the color so we can distinguish this easily. By first choosing the black, we can change this black by this custom palette to something different like this one. Okay, if we want to make the sign in text clickable, we have to give it an ID. Let's give it name text view sign in. It means that this is a text view, not a button, and this text view will be used to go to the sign in activity. Now we can do one important thing. We can copy this linear layout and paste this linear layout in the sign in activity. Okay, here we have to change only few things. Number one, we have to change this to sign up. Okay, and this text will be changed to don't have an account. Okay, and change this to on TV sign in to TV sign up. Now we have to bind this text view as well. So let's go back to the sign in activity first, and in sign in activity we have to create the text view instance for holding the text sign up. Let me remind you that this main activity is sign in activity. Okay, so on sign in activity we have the button, or we have the text view sign up, so that's why this is sign up. So bind it now, TV sign up, TV sign up. Now we do the same thing in the sign up activity. In the sign up activity, the ID is TV sign in. So let's create the instance of text view. Okay, on this sign up activity we can see this sign in text, so that's why clicking this text view will take us to the sign in activity. So now let's add the listeners. Those listeners will actually take us from sign up to sign in, or from sign in to sign up activity. Now we are on the sign up activity, and clicking on this sign in activity will take us to this activity, sign in activity. So let's see how do we do this. Create the listener, and how we create the listeners: TV sign in dot set on click listener. This is a set on click listener, and in this on click event we will create, or we will move from this sign up activity to sign in activity using the intent. Intent is a communication object that is used to pass on the data from one activity to another activity, or we can move from one activity to another activity. So let's say start activity, new intent. First of all, intent is expecting two parameters. The first one is the activity that we are going from, and that is sign up. I mean this activity. And the second is a class that we want to go to, and that is main activity data class. Okay, so we do the same thing on the sign in activity. Okay, just by clicking the sign up, start activity, create the new intent, and the first parameter will be this current activity, which is main activity dot java. Here it will be main activity dot this, and we want to go to the sign up activity, so we will give it the name sign up dot class. Okay, if you want to know more about the intents, you can read the Android official documentation about the intent. Let's try to run this app that we have created just now to check its functionalities. Just click on that run app icon. It will take some time depending on your system speed. So this is the sign in activity, and this sign in activity is a launcher activity. When we click on this sign up, it will take us to the sign up activity, and we click on this sign in, it will take us to the sign in activity. So first of all, as you know, we don't have any user account so far now, so naturally we will create an account in the sign up activity. Okay, next I show you the most important part, and that important part is writing the code for creating the user account in the Firebase. So our account will be created when we tap on this button. So we have to write the Firebase account creation behind this button, and here we can see this is the button. We have to add another listener for this button, like sorry, we are on the sign in activity. First we have to create the user account on the sign up activity. So btn create account dot set on click listener and a new view on click listener. First of all, before doing anything with Firebase, we have to create a Firebase instance as well. So Firebase auth, let's give it the name fvauth. Once we have created this instance of Firebase auth class, we can initialize it here with Firebase auth.get instance. This statement will initialize this fvauth instance of Firebase auth with this Firebase auth instance. Now, using this instance, we can perform any operation on the Firebase project that we have created in Firebase console. So first, the most important and most simple thing to create any user account, we have to fetch the email and password or text from this edit text email and this edit text password field. So let's do it. Before fetching the email IDs and password are creating the account, you have to check the email and password for any valid input types or any character length or other different checks that you have to perform. But in this video we cannot perform all the checks. I will only show you one check, and that is that email and password field should not be blank. And let's see how to do this. Let's say every auth if first of all, if user text utils class and dot is empty, and if edt email sign up password dot get text, in this line we are asking the computer to check if edit or edt sign up email field is empty or not. If this is empty, then set the error dot set error email field cannot be left blank, or email field cannot be blank. Okay, and else, in the else we will check the edt sign up password field password dot, and let's see what's the error, else if as well. And in this last else, sorry, this is else if, that's why it is showing us the error. In the last else, if the email field is not empty, password field is not empty, then we will create the user account in the Firebase. And we do this with a simple method, every auth dot create user account with email and password. And we have to provide only two strings. The first string is email and second string is password. We have to fetch the email and password using this method. Sorry, edt sign up email dot get text dot to string, and do the same thing, copy this code and paste this time for password. So once we have provided the email and password, next thing that you have to do is you have to, using the add-on complete listener, we can determine where our process was completed successfully or not. In this on complete method, we will see if using this parameter, using this function parameter task, we can determine whether our account creation process or our account was created successfully or not. If task dot is successful, if successful, simply show the toast message. Okay, and toast message should show the account created. But if there was something wrong, then it must show the toast message as well with the message, with the error message, account could not or account not created. Okay, and by using the slash n we have to show the error. And how we show error, we concatenate the error here in this task dot get exception dot get message. So simply, first of all, on btn create account, when we click on this button, it will first of all check whether email field is empty. If the email field is not empty, it will check for the password field, and if password field is not empty, then it will perform this task. Using this create user with email and password function, it will try to create the user account with this email and with this password. Right now password is not required, but this is just a part of the sign up process, so that's why I'm showing this. Otherwise we only need the email. And under the on complete method, we are just checking if the task was successful, then show this message, and if the task was not successful, then show this method. So let's try to run this. Let's try to run the app and check the sign up process. Let's try this. Here we can see our app sign in. As you know, that's we haven't programmed the sign in activity yet, so we will go to the sign up, and under the sign up we will give any email ABC. So for now we haven't checked for any proper email format like @ or .com. So you can simply give it any text, or you can simply give it abc.com, abc@example.com as well. Okay, and the password is 12345. When we click on create account, it will show us any of the toast message, either this toast message or this toast message. Okay, let's check it. Let's try to click on this create account. So this toast message is showing that password should be at least 6 characters. So let's increase the password strength to at least 6 characters and click on that create account button again. This time it is showing us account has been created. Now let's go back to the Firebase dashboard and click on that refresh button, and this time you see that our user account has been created. We can delete this user account, we can disable the account, we can reset the password, but we cannot see the password. So you saw this was very simple how to create a sign up using email in the Android Studio and Firebase. In the next phase of the video I will show you how to sign in with this ID. Let's go back to the Android Studio, and this time we have to work in the sign in activity. The process is very simple. You have to enter an email, you have to enter the password, and you have to click the sign in button. And meanwhile, if your email is empty or if your password is empty, we have to show the error message as we did in the sign up activity. But if email and password are correct, then it must show us some toast message, welcome or something like that. Or we can take the user from this activity to any dashboard activity. Okay, so let's go to the backend code, and this time we have to write the sign in code behind the btn sign in dot set on click listener. So let's check if edt sign in email dot get text. Sorry, we have to use the text utils method, text util class, and in this we have to use the isEmpty method. But if both the fields have some text, then we have to sign the user. This time again we have to create an instance of Firebase authentication. So Firebase auth, if we sign in auth and initialize this with Firebase instance. Okay, so next we have to use we have to call the function sign in with email and password. So provide the email first, again call the add on complete listener method on this Firebase instance. Under that we will get a method on complete. In this complete we have to check whether the username and password is correct or not. So if is correct and signed in, but if the user account is not correct, else. So this is a very simple code how we can sign in with the email and password that we have created in the previous step. So press Ctrl Alt L to format the code. Now let's try this code by running the app. Now we have to enter the same email and password that we used in the previous step when we were creating the user account, and that email ID is abc@example.com. So let's put it here, abc@example.com, and the password was 123456. Once we click on the sign in button, if the password and username and password is correct, it will show this toast message. But if the username and password, any of this is incorrect, it will show this toast message. So let's try it. And yes, it means that our email and password sign in has worked correctly. You can you can redirect the user rather than showing the toast message to a main activity or any dashboard activity. So, dear viewers, you saw how we created or how we can create a sign in and sign up functionality in the Android Studio and Firebase. Please, if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and do leave any comment that how I can improve the video. Thank you.